Hey, welcome back to Midas Letter Live. My guest in this segment is John Arbuthnot. He is the CEO of Delta 9 Cannabis, trading on the TSX Venture under the symbol NINE. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Despite many technical difficulties, we've got you live here. I can't believe it. John, we've talked to you a couple of times in the past, and you're based in Manitoba, right?
That's correct.
And which for a lot of Canadians, it remains an afterthought. Anything that comes from Manitoba, people tend to overlook, but you have not let that slow you down in your development, and you've just entered into a licensing agreement with Nanosphere Health Sciences. Tell me about that.
Yeah, really interesting technology there. Essentially, a technology that increases the bioavailability or uptake of cannabinoids. And can be put into several applications that are very interesting. And whether we're looking at the medical or the recreational side of the business, again, something that if we can walk it through the Health Canada process would have a number of applications. We now have that exclusive license for that patent here in Canada.
Interesting. And so what is the, I mean, besides the bioavailability, what is the sort of technology based on? So is it like a way to make cannabinoids water soluble?
Well, I mean, big challenge with cannabis as an ingestible or in a number of applications that are non-smoked is the uptake. It can take in some cases 30 minutes or several hours for the drug to become effective. Of course, that's why patients in many cases are leaning back to smoking or vaporizing, because that effect is relatively instantaneous. The nanotechnology is effectively a way to change the size of the cannabinoid molecules in a way that increases the uptake, and it effectively makes it faster. It makes it so that effect can be spread out over a longer period of time, and effectively increasing the effectiveness of the drug itself.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So the idea would be to then put that into some of your products or license that technology through your products?
Well, I think both, James. We would look at, of course, putting this technology into some of our more basic ingestible oils that we're currently working with. I think we would also look to work with other licensed producers and processors who are perhaps going a little further than we are on the drug development side, and see how we can spread this technology around the Canadian market to the fullest extent.
Wow, very cool. So your website says that your focus is small batch, hand trimmed, craft quality cannabis. So at this point, are you mainly focused on premium dried flower?
Yeah, right now that is our main focus. We really bring that back to our grow methodology, and that's through our Delta 9 grow pods. It allows us to very precisely dial in those factors that affect product quality, your light intensity, temperature, humidity, parts per million, CO2 saturation, and of course, growing hydroponically. We feel all of these factors, when combined, place us into the premium part of the dried flower segment, and that will very much be our focus moving forward.
Okay, so is your product organic?
Not certified organic. I believe there's only one or two producers that are making that push for organic certification. Of course, we have entirely organic inputs, although we've not yet taken that step for certification.
Okay. So are all your customers in Manitoba, or are you selling your product across the country?
Well, I think from the last time we spoke, we had 2,000 or 2,200 registered patients. We're now upwards of 3,500 a few months on here. So, still seeing that rapid growth in the medical side of the business. I think we're distributed around the country. More of our focus is here in Manitoba. About 50% of our overall patients are currently based here in Manitoba.
Okay, interesting. And I see that you've got yourself 4 locations in Manitoba for the onset of the recreational program.
Yeah, and as we speak toward the recreational market, our focus will be very much on vertical integration. The first steps for us on that strategy are here in Manitoba. hoping to roll out 4 locations by the end of this calendar year. First 2 being focused here in Winnipeg, one in Brandon and Thompson as 2 ancillary markets for us that are interesting. Really, the goal here is to proof that concept, to come up with, for lack of a better term, a cookie cutter that we can begin to expand out over the rest of the country.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So the big announcement July 25th was that you'd achieved a $12 million financing with a Tier 1 bank. Is that a debt instrument?
Yeah, so a few different components to that financing. Really the largest component of it would be mortgage-based financing for our previously announced property acquisitions, which allow us to secure our position on our existing site here, about 180,000 square feet of warehouse space, and about 47 acres of land that we're looking to acquire as a part of our existing Health Canada facility and also an extension of that. This financing would be very much in connection with that. But to clarify on the announcement, we have come to terms with a Tier 1 charter bank here in Canada. We're still walking through the final due diligence processes and some final closing conditions regarding the site acquisition. But we are very confident an announcement on that definitively will be coming in the near future.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I guess that's good news for shareholders who aren't going to be diluted by your CapEx requirements.
Well, I think it's a great testament to the stage of advancement for our business that we're perhaps debt ready, and how we're seeing one of the larger banks step to the table. Also, I think we're starting to see this progression across the industry where the banks are starting to pay attention, and that speaks to the maturity of the industry as a whole.
Right. Okay. Now, back in June, you released some news about partnering up with Fort Garry Brewing for a Legal Lager Hemp Beer, and that's intriguing. So, is this a beer brewed from cannabis?
No, this is it's a barley-based beer. We put some hemp into the mash as a part of the brewing process. It comes with a very unique then flavor set. Really, this was an interesting, co-marketing or branding play for us in Fort Garry, which is Manitoba's largest craft brewer. We feel we've really come up with a very unique product there. It's allowed us to market that product throughout the summer at a number of different events, festivals, things like that. And you know what? I was discounting the amount of attraction that the broader beer consumer would have towards a hemp-based beverage, and sales have taken off from there. So it's been a very positive experience for us.
Sure, you bet. Well, I used to drink Bowen Island Hemp Lager, or Hemp Ale was my beer of choice when I lived in Vancouver for a number of years. It's no longer available, but it was really, really great beer. And so if yours is anywhere near as good as that, I'm looking forward to trying it. Now, are you going to broaden the product sort of range that incorporate hemp?
Well, I think given the success of the legal lager, it's certainly something that we'll look into. We are seeing a little bit of an expansion of the hemp regulations as a part of legalization this fall. So I think, again, something that we'll continue to pursue, particularly in the drinkables segment. Of course, phase 2 of our stated agreement with Fort Garry Brewing is to now start to formulate a de-alcoholized and cannabis-infused beverage. And obviously a lot of excitement in the space, I think, around the de-alcoholized and cannabis-infused beverages.
Fantastic. Tell me, what are you going to do to carve out more market share for yourself in the immediate term and later in 2019? What's the next year hold for Delta 9?
Yeah, so I guess, speaking on 2 factors there, I mean, we're aggressively expanding our production facility here. Again, last we spoke, I think we had 15 to 20 of our Delta 9 grow pods in production. We now have 100. So growing really exponentially based on the rollout of these pods in our warehouse. Our production capacity is about triple, again, when we last spoke. So main focus, I guess, from the production distribution side is just ramping up that capacity to be able to supply the market and acquire market share. Again, from there, our focus is on a vertical integration strategy into retail. The first push there will be the 4 stores in Manitoba. From there, we look at other markets that have announced retail frameworks, Saskatchewan, Alberta. BC, I think, will come a little bit later for us, but of course, the most exciting announcement or upcoming announcement in the space is the potential for retail in Ontario.
Yeah, you bet. All right, John, we're going to leave it there. We're going to come back to you soon. Next time, we'd hope to do this with the camera in your grow space, if that's possible.
Absolutely, James. And you know what? At some point, we're going to have to get you out here to Manitoba to enjoy a legal lager with us.
You know what? I love what they've done with Winnipeg down by the river there. So you're on. I'll make an arrangement. We'll come out there. John, thanks very much for your time today. We'll come back to you soon.
Thank you, James.
Yeah.